WPHT. I am here with the legendary, the likable, the friendly Dr. Lawyer Smarty Pants, who's too humble, Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. We call him Maz.
I like likable. I'll take that.
You're kind. You're just so humble and gracious, and
well, let's focus on you.
You're like, oh shucks.
Get away from let's focus on you and all the cool things we're going to talk about.
Yes, well, thank you. And we were here 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks, and a lot has happened in those 2 weeks.
Yes, and I mean, I have to do a little bit of a humble brag or not so humble brag.
I'll brag for you. You nailed it. Nailed it.
Crushed it.
We were here the night before the Supreme Court pick.
Yes.
We all put our bets down on it.
We did.
And you got it right.
I did. We had a couple people weighing in with us. We had our friend of the show, Rich Zioli. He picked Ted Cruz's pick, Senator Mike Lee from Utah.
Yeah, I went with the long shot.
Hardiman? Maybe?
Yeah, I went with Hardiman.
And I said, no, I'm sticking with Kavanaugh. He was the safe pick. And I was right somehow.
You were right. Dan went with Judge Judy. And I was pretty sure that was not going to be right.
You know, what does she say? She has some.
I did not say Judge Judy.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Get it right. I said Judge Janine.
Oh,
Judge
I thought you
Janine
said.
Pyro.
I thought you went with Judge Judy.
No.
No, you sure? We'll have to get the tape.
Yeah, we will.
You know what Judge Judy says?
What?
Looks fade, stupid as forever. She's right.
I like Judge. By the way,
great.
Love Judge Judy.
Yeah, I love her. And Judge Janine was in the news this week because she went on The View and had a fight with Whoopi.
She was spit on by Whoopi, by the way.
How did I miss that
maybe
one?
we can get to that later in the show.
That's classy.
Yeah.
Really classy. So yeah, I kind of nailed it. So
I give you full points for that because you didn't even waver at all. You were 100% like, look, we can talk about all these picks. It's a fun exercise. He's going to go with Kavanaugh. And you were right.
And you tried to get me to waver and change.
I did. I was trying to.
You're like, come on, you don't want to change your mind? And I said, nope, I'm sticking.
I tried to get you to do like sort of magic of radio. Like, it's not an interesting pick. Go with one more. You're like, no. You're a lawyer yourself. And you're like, look, I know how this works. This is who it's going to be. You were right.
Right. I was. And do we think he's going to get confirmed? I do. I think it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think he'll get confirmed.
I think he'll get confirmed too. Yeah. I do.
Definitely. And you and I spent some time off the air together this week.
We did. We had a bet. I don't remember. Dan, do you remember what the bet was?
I remember that you had to get your hair styled by Erin's hairstylist.
I did. At Ettore.
At Ettore at the Rittenhouse. It's Paula Breck at the Rittenhouse Hotel.
I did. And it was pretty awesome. I was super nervous going to get my hair.
So nervous. It was really cute, actually.
I never usually have my hair styled. I've been getting the same haircut forever. So I went in. I was very nervous. I got my haircut, and it looks pretty good. I have to say, my wife really likes it. So Ettore will now be my permanent hairstylist.
That's great.
I'm switching to Ettore.
Great.
I feel like a cheater, though, because the woman that has been cutting my hair for a long time, like, I literally feel like I cheated on her. Like, what am I going to say? Like, how am I going to face her?
This is a real issue. Breaking up with your hairstylist is like harder than getting out of a marriage sometimes.
Yeah, first I just flat out, I just did it. I just cheated on her.
Yes. You're broken up.
It wasn't emotional. It was totally physical only. But now I feel like I need to totally break up and go with the new person.
You know, I went with a woman for the longest time, almost my entire high school and college, and she was an older lady in her 60s. She kind of just gave me the same haircut every time. I went to the barber shop for the first time in my adult life, and I actually ran into her in a grocery store, and it was the worst feeling I've ever experienced. She was like, "Hey, how's your girlfriend?" and asking about my family members. I was sitting in the chair. I'm just like,
That's the right play, by the way. It's not to give you a dirty look. It's not to be mean. It's totally to give you a cavity with sweetness.
But listen to this. She actually said, "Oh, your hair looks great. Did you get it cut?"
Oh, what a sin. I feel bad for her.
So well.
Yeah, I felt horrible telling her, it was my my girlfriend's sister cut it. That's what happened.
Oh, you did that. I have a family member?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you went with a lie.
No, it was free. Classy. I had to take it,
You have to. You just don't want to hurt her feelings.
Wait, so what should my excuse be?
I don't know what to tell you. Are you going to see this woman again? Will you run into her?
I think I will. I think I probably will.
Gosh, you're going to have to make up a lie. I don't think honesty is the best policy here. You have to lie.
Wait a minute. Wait, your position both of you guys take the position that honesty is not the best policy.
That is correct.
I do take the position that honesty is the best policy.
You're going to break her heart.
No, I'm not. I mean, why can't I just say, listen, I lost a bet. How about this one? I lost a bet on the air.
Okay.
And I went to somebody else. And, hey, it's great to see you.
And are you coming back?
No, I lost a bet, and now I'm still seeing that person.
Dan, this sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Sometimes you have to just, but
No, you got to go and say, hey, you know, my niece is she's in school for it, so I went to her and give her some practice. You know, make her feel
again,
bad.
that's lies.
I want you guys to look something up called radical candor.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
No, I'm Googling it.
Yeah, there's something called radical candor. I mean, you just got to be honest with people. I really like the woman that cut my hair before this. She's a really good person. And by the way, does a good job cutting hair. This dude didn't just cut my hair.
That's true.
He did like a whole magic whirlwind around my head.
He really did. It was quite nice to watch.
And I'm going to him now. And when I see her, I go, listen, hey, it's great to see you. I really like seeing you. Are you coming back to have my hair? No, I'm going to this new guy. I lost a bet on the air, and I'm going to this new guy. Guy does a great job.
Now, Maz, do you open up to the new guy? Was he very talkative in the chair?
He literally taught me about hair.
He did.
Erin came. She was there.
We were together. I showed up.
See, that was a refreshing thing of going to the barber shop for the first time. People were just not talking to me.
Oh.
And it was fantastic. Like, this lady would want to talk the entire time. I was like I'm a millennial. I don't like talking to people.
So you don't want to. So we show prepped the whole time because I was filling in for Rich on Friday.
Uh-huh.
So Erin and I, she was literally going through the headlines.
Right.
Like, yeah. Because I was a little worried because there wasn't much going on. But literally between when I got my hair cut and by the time I got to the station, all kinds of stuff broke in the news.
Right.
You know, Michael Cohen. I mean,
Kim Golify left the 5 on Fox.
Yeah, there was like all kinds of stuff. Whoopi had spit on somebody. I mean, it was like a million things happened.
Yeah. But yeah, we just talked about the show. But Tori taught him, like, you have a natural swirl in the back of your head, and this is how I have to cut your hair to emphasize.
Yeah, like, you know, hey, he's like, listen, your hair's thinning a little bit, man. And, you know, you got to do it like this, and you got to do this. Like, he was.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he was good.
And I didn't pick him out of thin air. He also cuts my husband's hair.
Yeah, he was he was like, I was really nervous that he was going to do some wacky stuff.
He came in there like, you know, that tense smile you see on someone's face. He was very tense, and then once he saw the haircut, I just saw this this sigh of relief and this smile that was just like.
Yeah, because I'm also blind without my glasses
she
on,
did you
so
right,
I couldn't
though.
see anything the whole time. She did.
She should have went and just gave you a crazy haircut.
Oh, I would never do that. I'm
No?
not mean.
I mean, you want to bet, though. You kind of have the right to.
I know, but I'm not a sadist.
Listen, I also better like the haircut because it was about 4 to 5 times more expensive than.
Yeah, it's certainly not cheap.
But
Who
worth
paid?
it.
You paid?
Yeah, but it's
paid, yeah.
worth it. Yeah, well, I lost the bet. I'm going to make her pay. I mean, that'd be
Also,
crazy.
you bought products too, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm not talking about the product.
Oh, wait, but like that was the whole price together. You paid for 2
No, I'm
products.
talking. It's itemized. I'm talking about the price of the haircut.
Right.
I was getting a pretty cheap haircut before.
Right. But I will say that it won't be that expensive every time because you won't have to buy the products every time.
But I'm talking about it's 4 times the cost of just the haircut.
Yeah, it was like $60 or $70 or something. Can I
Yeah,
say
but I got
that?
a pretty cheap haircut before.
Yeah,
I
but
was like a cheapo haircut guy.
Well,
when the
now you
woman
have a
I
good
would go
haircut.
to wasn't available, I'd go to the hair cuttery.
Oh my God. Like, no, we're done with that.
Yeah,
But you don't lie to your hair cutter at hair cuttery.
look, but then before the last person, I went to hair cuttery, and I had to break up with that woman for the new woman.
So you're a serial breaker upper, so this is fine.
I'm a serial monogamist, though, when it comes to hair cutting.
Yes, well, now you have a Tory, so.
Yeah, and I have a Tory, and he's great.
He is great, so.
All right,
Well,
so that's the recap. That's what's been going on the last 2 weeks with Erin and I.
Yes, so that's what's going on. And I think what we should do now is we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, I have some Twitter/Disney stuff I want your opinion on.
Oh, we're going to talk about James Gunn?
James Gunn.
Yeah.
Some people don't know who he is. He's Guardians of the Galaxy director, right?
Well, no more.
No more.
He was fired.
He was axed.
And because of his tweets from like a decade ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if people think about that.
Yeah, I want to hear what everyone thinks, because I know you and I have a feeling we're going to differ strongly.
Oh,
so,
well, it'll be interesting to see how people line up.
yeah. So we're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm Erin Elmore with my buddy Maz, and we will.
Hey, it's page powers.
I have a theory.
That's my theory. Afternoons 3 to 6. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hello, this is Erin Elmore, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And I'm here with my favorite person ever, Maz.
Wow. Strong
Doctor,
words.
lawyer Anthony Mazzarelli goes by
Strong
Maz.
words.
I also want to call you Anthony, and you say no one calls you that but your mother.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I don't care. I mean, people just know me as Maz, you know. You definitely don't have to call me Doctor. Maz is fine.
All right. That's
You
what I
can
call
call me. You can call me Anthony if you want. I'm just not used to it.
Catches you off guard, I feel like.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I don't. It's certainly my name. So
True story. So we were briefly speaking about this guy, James Gunn. And truth be told, I didn't really know who he was. I'm not a big movie buff, if you will.
that's the most disappointing.
I can't sit still for 2 hours. It's impossible. So Guardians of the Galaxy, those are like superhero movies?
Yeah, that's in the MCU, right? The Marvel Cinematic Universe. So
Okay. And so these are big grossing movies, right? Big bucks.
Big bucks. And in fact,
Big bucks.
if I had to guess, the first Guardians of the Galaxy probably made 700 or 800 million, and the second one I think made even more.
Sheesh.
So
he was rolling in the dough from these movies.
he was doing a good job producing for, I think, Disney for these movies. And then what happened? What happened in the last couple of days?
So, there's a lot online that all these celebrities are on his side saying, hey, he shouldn't have been fired because he was fired from this third part of the trilogy, right? Directing the third one. But Ted Cruz is on the other side saying this guy should go to jail if these tweets are true. And what he did was about 10 years ago, he said some offensive things on Twitter. And should I tell you what some of those things are? He said.
So these are the reasons why James Gunn, this is in the news because James Gunn now, director of one of the biggest franchises out there, gets fired. And he's fired because of tweets he made a decade ago.
Right.
Right? And what are some of the tweets that he said?
I like when little boys touch me in my silly place. As a mom of a boy, I mean, my blood is just boiling. Like, how do you even have that thought, let alone tweet it? Okay, that is just over the top.
Okay, what else did he tweet?
Let's see. The best thing about being raped is when you're done being raped and it's like, phew, this is what it feels great not to be raped. Like, these tweets are just not funny. This is not entertaining. This isn't funny. There were other ones about joking about the 9/11 attacks, AIDS, the Holocaust, a monkey, I don't even know if I can use this word, pleasuring himself, if you will.
You can use the word pleasuring.
Well, the one that I was thinking started with, anyway. So these tweets aren't funny.
Okay,
and
so he makes unfunny tweets.
Yes.
A decade ago.
Right.
Clearly that's at the time, I'm assuming he's trying to be a provocateur, right?
Sure.
And Ted Cruz says that he should go to jail for those tweets?
He said if these things are true that James Gunn says, he should in fact be put in jail.
But of course he should be. But no one actually thinks these things are true, though.
I mean, I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. But I think that his firing was appropriate because Disney is the parent company of these films, and Disney is a business that's target audience is children, Mickey Mouse. They don't want this to be part of their brand.
So first of all, here's where I agree with you. Disney has every right to hire whoever they want, right? They're a private company. They should be able to do whatever they want, protect their brand, right? What I don't get is he had publicly made all these tweets when Disney hired him.
Well, Disney didn't know about them.
Sure they did. It's just that people didn't make a big deal out of them.
Fair enough.
So he was a provocateur that said crazy stuff. But now that people are making a big deal out of the tweets, Disney's firing him. So that's fine. I mean, Disney has every right to do that. But I think this is the dilemma we have in this day and age when you look at it the other way, is that everybody is just presumably, and I think I already know the answer, what happened was James Gunn came out and he got involved in politics.
Well, let's be more specific.
He came out against
Trump.
He came out anti-Trump. So then a bunch of conservatives came out and dug up all these things that he said in the past. And then
do we know that those two things are correlated? I don't know.
No, they did. I read about it.
Okay, I missed that part.
And
Thank you.
They took all these things he said in the past, and now, by the way, it happens to be that way. We're in a day and age, partisanship-wise, that the reverse would have been true, too.
Absolutely.
If this was just a couple years ago, it would have been, if it was a conservative filmmaker that came out against Obama.
Of course.
The liberals, right? It would have been the same thing. I think this is a race to the bottom. That's my concern.
Meaning that...
All we ever do now is the moment someone goes after our guy or our gal is we find a way to use whatever the sort of moment, the way we can hurt people the most in the moment to go after them. And Disney, is sort of caving in this one, and it's their right to do it.
Absolutely.
By firing him, right? Rather than before, when they knew he had all this stuff in his past,
right. People
were ignoring it. They let him direct the movies, but now that it's out there, be like, hey, listen, I had no problem with these tweets when no one knew about it. But now that your tweets are out of the closet.
Right. Well, I mean, I think, it's almost like they have to put up or shut up. Put your money where your mouth is, sort of thing.
But Ted Cruz, to sort of magnify it, right? Like, yes, we all know that when you joke about being a chimo,
I've never heard that expression.
A child molester.
I'm not laughing. I've just never heard that. Where have I been?
Wait. Erin Elmore joked about child molestation.
No, that's so messed up. I have a child.
Yeah, but this is how it works, right? 10 years from now, someone's like, I have a tape of Erin Elmore laughing about...
I'm not laughing about it. I just never heard the word chimo.
I know, but this is what I'm saying.
It could be spun.
The problem. This is the problem.
No, the difference is I laughed at a term I had never heard before. Yeah, this guy is talking about touching boys in their silly place.
Sure,
okay,
this dude's jokes were horrific.
Horrific.
But the point is that obviously Ted Cruz's comments, right? Yes. Anybody who makes a bad joke about a chimo,
stop. I can't take it.
Child molester.
But where did you come up with this term chimo?
It's better than pedo, which is what Elon Musk said last week.
He called someone a pedo, yeah.
He's
European or something. He's Australian, right? Or it's New Zealand.
I don't know. They have better abbreviations.
They say, I don't know. It just sounds more civilized.
Than chimo?
I can't. Well, now I'm just laughing every time you say it. Oh my God.
So my point though is that isn't it always the case that if anyone makes a joke about child molestation, that if it happens to be true, they should be arrested?
Of course.
Well, then why was Ted Cruz's comments making news?
I mean, Ted Cruz tweeted this, right? And I think he even put a bunch of James Gunn's tweet in his tweet.
Right.
Like he listed each tweet. It was like, this is messed up.
At the same time of being critical of Ted Cruz has become the master of getting press out of all this stuff. Right?
Yes. He learned from his buddy Donald Trump.
We did the same thing. When we were doing the Supreme Court people a couple weeks ago, we were like, that guy's Ted Cruz's guy.
Ted Cruz is Mr. Media these days.
Yeah.
He's playing basketball with Jimmy Kimmel. I mean.
That's right.
He's a different guy than he was 4 years ago, 2 years ago.
Ted Cruz got headlines for saying, anybody who ever jokes about child molestation, if those jokes are true, they should be prosecuted.
As all the girls say, duh, I'll be.
That's deep. But you got to give him credit. He
got some press for it.
Right.
He's all over the news.
So to go back, James Gunn makes a bunch of chimo. Why are you laughing?
You're laughing too.
This is it. You're never going to be able to run for office.
I don't want to run for office anyway.
I hope not, because this segment...
I was going to run for lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but thankfully this segment was done after that, because these guys, someone would dig it up. That's my point.
They can dig it up. I haven't said anything inappropriate.
Disney, that's my point though, is Disney is now, people in politics now will use anything to slice you up once you get in the game, and I think that's wrong.
It's true though. It's the world that we live in, and it is a bloodthirsty sport, and politics is dirty. It is really dirty.
Now, granted, this, it's also, I think, a little unfair to put a bad joke in the same category as, actually physically touching someone or sexual assault.
Right.
And that's where I think the problem is.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, I want to hear what you guys think out there. Call in. Our number's 855-839-1210. And when we come back, we're going to hear what you have to say.
Hi, I'm Keith Emmons, the owner of Emmons Roofing and Siding. I'm sure by now you've heard about our fast and easy roof replacements. But what does that mean for you as the homeowner? Well, it means at Emmons we use only the best Owens Corning shingles that have a 50-year workmanship and material warranty. We're also a platinum preferred contractor, something Owens gives to a few select contractors. It means that we're vetted and can offer you better warranties than most companies. Need new doors, windows, or siding? Emmons.
WPHT got Maz with me and another special guest who I'm going to surprise you with in a second. But what we're talking about right now is this guy, James Gunn. He was the director of these Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The parent company is Disney. He tweeted some crazy things, for example, I like when little boys touch me in my silly place. I personally think good. Fire him. He says really inappropriate things. Disney's a big brand. Their brand is children. They can't have a jackanape like this working for them. Maz, you think this is kind of baloney. It was 10 years ago. And
not quite what I think, but go ahead. Keep recapping. Go ahead and recap my position here.
You think, you know what, like this is kind of baloney. Disney knew about this when they hired him, but now that it's becoming a big deal publicly, you know, that's the only reason why they fired him.
My criticism of Disney is all this stuff they knew when they hired him the first time. So he was, 10 years ago, he was a provocateur, right? Right. And he said really unfunny stuff. Like the line that you keep saying.
I like when little boys touch me in my silly place.
Yes, that rape line is horrific. The line about laughter is...
Oh, yeah, say that one, could you?
I don't have that one in front of me, but he has the one...
Paraphrase it. Like, basically, the best way... sorry, I'm telling you to do it, then I can talk over you.
Right. No, go ahead.
Typical woman. Okay, so basically, like, laughter is the best form of medicine. That's why I laugh at people with AIDS.
Right.
Also horrific.
All horrific lines. And those are things that when he was trying to be edgy and everything, he said these things. And then years later, he ends up marrying Jenna Fisher from The Office.
Right. She's cute. She's great.
Yeah. And then he's the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then what happens is he comes out supporting Trump.
No, he's anti-Trump.
Or no, I'm sorry, against Trump. He jumps in the political arena. He's anti-Trump. So then a bunch of people who are pro-Trump dig up these tweets, put it out there, and Disney goes, oh, you know, this is really bad, and they fire him. And my point is, Disney has every right to do it. But like, hey, Disney, you knew about these things before.
But now that it's just become fodder for, you know, the media that they fire
I get
him.
They want to protect their brand.
They have to.
But the point is, if we keep doing this with people and people have to worry about everything they've ever done, even when they were jokes, it also takes away from the people who do need to get whacked on the nose for doing real, actual stuff to people, not joking about just bad jokes, like the actual people who touch people or real chimos or whatever. You keep laughing at the chimo thing. Term. They're going to be, oh, you know, Erin Elmore laughed at chimos, laughed about chimos.
No.
See, even our guest is laughing about chimos.
Well, I want to hear what you guys think. 855-839-1210 is the number. And my guest in the studio, and I'm like fangirling. I know that's like a silly term. His name is Maj Toure, right?
Yeah.
And I am slightly obsessed. He has a movement called Black Guns Matter.
Yeah.
Which I also think is, I mean, you're going to explain it better, and we're going to get into that. He's here to talk with me at length about this, but basically helping people mostly in inner cities who have, whether it's gun training and safety, legal, not illegal possession of guns is your focus.
Right.
And also helping people get things expunged, right?
Expunge, learn the law, try not to go to jail, don't shoot people, conflict resolution. It's a mixed bag. Which
I think is such an amazing movement. And I also lump you in the category of a category that I love. Is this sort of like walk away movement, like sort of being accountable for yourself and sort of almost like, are you a Republican? Do you mind me asking? You don't have to say.
So, I don't know yet. Okay. So, you know, because a lot of my philosophies lean right, but just because you're on the right doesn't mean you have to be Republican.
Sure.
You could be, you know, libertarian or something like that.
You know what I'm saying? I tend to be a little more libertarian.
Yeah, you do. Well, anyway, I want to ask you like 3 million questions, but what's your take on this whole James Gunn issue? What do you think?
Okay, so one, in the future, whoever digs this, these audio files up, don't like get mad at me and try to destroy my legacy because I just laughed.
Right. That's my entire point. Thank you. Yeah.
It's a thin line there. So one, if I read a statement and him saying, look, this was 10 years ago. I was, obviously that's not what I was doing. It was raunchy. It was, blah, blah, blah. You know, clearly I get it. I get the point.
Yes.
But at the same time, as a parent, I'm like, dude,
yes,
I don't really care. Certain jokes, and I get certain humor that I have, that I'm like, I watch The Office. His wife is from The Office, Jenna Fisher. I think it's hilarious. It's a dry humor.
Yes.
Some people will go, I have no idea how you think that show is so funny.
Right.
So it's just different types of humor. Me personally, like even Chimo is a funny, it's not funny, but it's a funny term.
It's not funny to be one it's a funny word. It just sounds funny.
Now there will be somebody that says, Erin, how could you think the concept of child molesters even in a phrase?
Erin Elmore
honestly, I'm a mother too.
Child molestation jokes. Have you heard this?
That is not even funny. I will, my son is 5. Like, I will knife somebody. I will go to jail. Like, do not even come near me with that talk.
Right.
Like, anger, like, I'm shaking.
This is the point, though.
But
I'm not making jokes like that on Twitter.
I know. Oh, well,
I just yell at Democrats on Twitter.
You're just doing it on a radio station that reaches 38 states and Canada.
Now, somebody from the other side, right? Somebody on the left will go, they'll pick apart something. Context is like non-existent right now. So somebody will go, oh, she said this, especially on Twitter.
Of course.
You can give no context in Twitter land.
Well, no one we know, hopefully, would ever say something like, I like when little boys touch me in my silly place. That's just mentally.
That's weird.
I mean, tell me what's funny in that. I can't find 1 ounce of humor in that.
It's just like laughing at a nickname for a shortened version of child molestation is not funny.
What? No, I'm not laughing at child molestation.
Well, but that's the thing.
That's how they'll take it out of context.
That's so messed up.
So, did you say Maj? Is that Maj?
Yeah.
I got Maj and Maz in the same studio. This is a little confusing.
So, we literally see this exactly the same way, right?
Yes.
Now, Disney has every right to fire him.
Yes. Yeah.
I just think, Disney needs to think about, they knew this ahead of time, right? And my more concern is if everyone keeps doing this, if everyone does this to everybody, we're like, what can I dig up in someone's past and immediately start, stabbing them with it?
They've tried that to me.
Yeah. Well, this is going to, how's this going to end?
My whole thing is, if you're going to post something like this and you realize that it's offensive, once you get to the big time, why not just go back and delete it?
Right. Did he or he did not?
Well, it doesn't. There's no such thing as deleting. Right? The world, everything we do is out there forever.
It only depends, yes and no. It depends if somebody would have had to have been following him on Twitter for a decade, right? Would have had to had screenshot, how would they still have their first iPhone?
There are websites that
it's called the Wayback Machine
are recording the internet all the time.
So
there's no such thing. Oh yeah, man.
It's called the Wayback Machine, I believe.
Did I just blow your mind?
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's out there forever. There is no. You have to assume everything you do, everything is out there forever.
Yeah.
That's why you should stop taking all those nude selfies, Maz.
I've never done that.
I can't see. You're
never done that.
Of course not.
You sure there's a Wayback Machine?
Dude, we've just met, but look at me. Do I look like a dude that's taking some nude selfies?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see? I don't know how we went down that road, but
the wonder of radio.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're adorably handsome.
Yes, thank you.
But you're too shy to do anything like that.
Yeah,
so we have someone like
that.
Rob from Marlton. Rob,
let's see what Rob from Marlton
has to say.
Let's see here. You know what? This thing. All right. Technical difficulties, all my fault. Rob. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Hello there. Hello. Can you hear me?
We hear you great. Sorry, that was a little technical difficulty on our end.
It was me. It wasn't Erin. She was too busy laughing at Chimo.
Somebody sneezed. Okay. Well, I really, of all things, found that somebody a long time ago had quoted Justice Hugo Black about matters of freedom of speech, and he was quite absolute in his approach to this. So before calling you, I just looked up a few of his quotes. So if you don't mind, I'll throw 3 of them at you.
Right.
And first of all, he said, freedom of speech means that you shall not do something to people either for the views they have or the views they express or the words they speak or write. That was one thing. He also said the layman's constitutional view is that what he likes is constitutional and that what he doesn't like is unconstitutional.
Interesting.
And the last thing was kind of the most thorough on this. Said the First Amendment's language leaves no room for inference that abridgments of speech and press can be made just because they are slight. That amendment provides in simple words that, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the press, quote unquote. I read no law abridging to mean no law abridging.
Okay.
So what's your take on all this?
The take on all this is that people who say, and by the way, a quick background, I'm the proud father of 8 children.
Oh, wow.
And grandfather to 12 going on 13. And I could not be more passionate about protecting children from molestation, etc. And I'm very careful with words. I love language. I've been writing poetry since I was 17. I'm going to be 68 this year. So, but you know, no matter how much we dislike someone for what they say, as long as they're not yelling fire in a crowded theater or something of that sort, you know, the amendments are there to protect unpopular activity or potentially unpopular activities.
Wait, but Rob, isn't what the justice is saying, and isn't the Constitution protect the government from punishing you for your speech? It doesn't protect all of us and each other from thinking worse of you. Like Disney,
Disney has every right to do this.
Yeah, I mean, the right to say something doesn't give you the freedom from people not thinking worse of you for it.
Right.
No, you have the right to make yourself as unpopular as you can make yourself.
Well, you could even lose your job over your speech, right? As long as it's not a government job.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So
how do you think? So what do you think about Disney? That's really the question. And James Gunn losing his job here.
Well, you know, say Laguerre. I mean, you know, he should have, you know, had better moral fiber in the first place than to run around talking foolishly. He should have gotten, you know, closer to God and closer to himself, and not really been so, you know, kind of like decrepit to have said those things in the first place.
All right, so you
taking the consequences.
All right, so you don't, even though you're a big backer of freedom of speech, you're saying, look, it's not freedom from consequences, though, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, if you make yourself unpopular and lose your job as a result of it, you know, there's no law against that. I just don't want government mandating, you know, what we can and can't say.
Well, Rob, I appreciate that take, and I enjoyed hearing your quotes from the Supreme Court. Thank you so much. We actually have another caller on the line, Michael in the Northeast. Michael, what do you have to say about this? What say you?
Hi, how you doing, Doc?
He's talking to you. He's good. I'm Erin Elmore over here. I got Dr. Maz with me, and I got Maj with me. So we're like, have a full house. What's your thoughts on all this?
Okay, here's my thoughts on it. I think we live in a time and a place. And I was just kind of stealing my thunder a minute ago.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We live in a time where anything, you know, it's like being arrested. Anything you can say will be used against you. Anything you put on the cloud, anything you put anywhere down, you know, if your grandfather and grandmother can't look at it, you're in trouble. You can't. That's almost the dividing line. If I was to tell these kids about putting naked pictures or anything they were to say or do online, on their phones, I'd say, can your grandparents view it with you?
Right.
If they don't, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. And that's what's happened in a weird way to our freedom of speech. Our freedom of speech has been minimized to the point now where a lot of things we used to watch on Archie Bunker, you could never see again.
No.
On the Jeffersons, even on Seinfeld.
Wait, I don't agree.
Archie Bunker's like a total racist.
Wait a minute. I don't agree with that. Wait.
How so?
Well, which part?
The last two things. Our freedom of speech has not been curtailed at all. How people may respond, how the consequences of that freedom are a little more dire, but no one's freedoms have been impinged. The consequences are more dire. Freedom of speech means that the government isn't going to come down on you. Your neighbor in thinking worse of you is the problem. Why do you think that freedom of speech has been curtailed?
Well, because I think when you say freedom of speech, I'm not talking in the legal term in the sense of, you know, if you say something, they can throw you in jail.
Well, that's what freedom of speech means, though. I mean, so when you say freedom of speech, you're not talking about the actual Constitution, which is what...
No, I'm not. I'm talking of your freedom to really speak your mind in humor or anything, because anything you say that can't pass the grandfather's test, anything.
Oh, you mean your freedom to basically...
Break. Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate your insight. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Thousands of lives are devastated by alcoholism and drug addiction every day. But
One more
So that
chance.
was your request? All
hip
hip-hop?
hop. Biggie, give me one more chance. I mean, we have a rapper in the studio. I secretly think I'm a rapper. I've told you that before. I mean, I'm not. Don't get it.
Oh, because I was going to ask for bars. I'm like,
No,
you
she's
gotta give me some
No,
bars.
you said you would.
No, not with him. That's embarrassing. That's like,
Wait a minute,
oh God, are we going to totally go down this road?
We are.
Oh God, here we go.
So
I just love hip hop so much, and I'm the whitest white girl known to man.
Well, wait a minute, but you
But I
told me before the first show that we did that you would be willing to rap on the air.
No.
Is that true?
If I lose a bet, if I lose a bet to you, for our next bet is. You could help me.
What kind of background, like what kind of music would you need in the background?
I'm not. I only know lyrics to rap songs, like "La Di Da Di." We like. I know the words to rap songs. That's my only talent.
She
just
just
called
covers
memory.
songs.
I'm
she's
a cover artist.
She's a cover artist. Yeah. Who would you like to cover? Who would you like to cover? We'll make sure we pull it up next hour.
Some Snoop Dogg.
Some Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, do you even know who that is?
Yes, I know who Snoop Dogg is.
Everybody knows who Snoop is.
We're talking about Maz. He's not,
He has nudes on the
he has nudes on the internet.
Back in the day.
Just to go along with the fact that I clearly look like I have no nudes, she's looked at me and she was like, he doesn't know Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
That was her thin slice of me. Like, that guy doesn't know Snoop
At
Dogg.
all.
Yeah.
Well,
I know who Snoop Dogg
neither
is.
of that is. You know who I don't know if knows Snoop Dogg is? James Gunn.
Oh.
And he directed 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, lost his job from Disney on the 3rd because he made comments on Twitter 10 years ago like, I like when little boys touch me in my silly place. But, Maj, you had a good point.
Yeah.
And you said, well, you could just tell it. Like you said, basically, this is going to impact the 3rd movie because he's out of the picture.
Yeah, you can't. So there's a reason why, like, the guy that took over the Batman franchise when, Christian Bale was there. I forget his name. I think his name's Christopher Nolan? Nolan.
Okay. Yeah, Christopher Nolan.
Amazing director. You don't get the same energy from that movie without that director.
Can I make a prediction?
Sure.
This guy will end up directing the 3rd Guardians.
He should.
Ooh.
James Gunn will be back.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting.
He will be
you think so?
reinstated.
Well, all these celebrities are signing petitions. They want him back. So you might be right.
If the actors have his back, and there's an opening, they just need to separate this from the rest of like the Me Too movement.
Right.
You'll see.
I'm not a fan of the Me Too movement, but we can talk about that for 6 hours. At any rate, so maybe when we come back, maybe I'll rap. I won't do that. And I have Maj Toure in the studio here. I'm so pumped about that. He's from Black Guns Matter, and we're going to teach you all about it because it's a very cool movement.
Absolutely.
You got a lot of national attention. I don't know if you guys out there know who Tomi Lahren is, but she sports your gear.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of her too. So we come back, stay tuned because we've got Maj Toure in studio with Erin and Maz on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, it's Chris Stigall with some great news about my old friend Roy Malumian, a name you know, and Malumian Oriental Rugs. For nearly a century, family-owned Malumian has been Philadelphia's most trusted Oriental rug authority. Now, after 90 years, Roy Malumian's Oriental rug cleaning services staying put. But he's sending his sales division to partner with the 6 Robin Stuckey home furnishing showrooms to Florida. It's a golden opportunity for Roy, but it also means a golden opportunity for you. Why? Because Roy can't pack, send, and store 10,000 exquisite rugs in Florida. My wife and I love our Oriental rugs from Malumian. They really complete our home. I hope you'll go now and visit our friend Roy. Get your first choice of over 10,000 exquisite rugs with the expert consultation that sets Roy Malumian and his team apart. All at an amazing, amazing price. You could be saving 60 to 80%. Malumian Oriental Rugs, located in historic Mount Airy, just a few minutes from Center City and the main line, 24/7 online at roysrugs.com. Malumian Oriental Rugs.
In 3500 BC, man needed better. Walking stinks. And so came the wheel. Today, we still need better.
All these servers are costing me time and overhead.
And so, CDW orchestrated VMware vSAN server visualization solution. Better reliability and performance. No additional hardware or licenses. Save time and money with this awesome exercise in efficiency. Learn more at cdw.com/VMware.
Hey, it's Paige Powers. You know, does the thought of yard work make you cringe? Does it leave you with bad memories of an aching back, sore knees, or painful hands? You need Rescue Glycomarine. This natural supplement is formulated with green-lipped mussel extract, proven to ease inflammation and lubricate joints. And today you can buy one bottle of Rescue Glycomarine and get another one completely free. Just go to myrescueproducts.com or call 800-26-ALIVE and use the coupon code WPHT-GLYCO. That's WPHT-GLYCO. Get started now and enjoy natural pain relief that won't upset your stomach like traditional pain relievers do. Go to myrescueproducts.com or call toll-free 800-26-ALIVE. That's 800-262-5483. Buy one bottle of Glycomarine and get a second one free with the code WPHT-GLYCO. Again, that's 800-26-ALIVE. 800-262-5483.
Wow, this is impressive. Hi, it's Chris Stigall. I hope by now you've heard me talk about my dentist and my personal friend Bob Spinato out there at Williamsburg Dental. This is his 5th straight recognition in Mainline Today magazine as top cosmetic dentist in our region. We're talking about other cosmetic dentists naming Dr. Spinato as a top cosmetic dentist in our region. I've known it for years. People that have seen Dr. Spinato have known it for years too. Look at the before and after pictures of the smile overhauls he's done for people like me at williamsburg-dental.com. When you walk through the front doors of the office and you meet Bob and his team, you'll see what makes them so special. Dentistry does not have to be painful. It doesn't have to be judgmental. They take the fear and they take the discomfort out of dentistry. Don't put off needed dental care, and if you have a smile you're not particularly proud of, you must visit the top cosmetic dentist in our region again this year, Bob Spinato at Williamsburg Dental. 610-353-2700. 610-353-2700. Or log on to williamsburg-dental.com.
That was already tried. It didn't work. What's the alternative?
Weekday mornings, 5:30 to 9. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT, HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Your home for live and local talk. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT, a radio.com station.
Erin Elmore here at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. In studio with me, I have someone that I admire, respect, think is really interesting, and he's also part of a movement, like I think the walk away movement. People are sort of walking away from the Democratic Party saying, hey, I'm accountable for myself, and this doesn't have to be groupthink. And his name is Maj Touré, right?
Yep.
And you're a rapper. You're a social icon on social media, an influencer, and you basically started, right, the Black Guns Matter movement.
Yep.
And instead of me explaining it, can you, in your words, explain what Black Guns Matter is?
Yeah, we're a firearm safety and training organization. We focus not so much just on the firearm itself, because I'm not a firearms instructor. We just go to the areas where there's high gun control, high crime, a lot of ignorance, and inform urban America about, you know, hey, this is the Second Amendment, this is how you're related to it, how this relates to you practically, and start from that standpoint. So basically, we kind of like part civics organization, part firearms organization, part law organization, just all of the things that would kind of like entry level to good citizenship 101.
It seems a little bit political too, in a way.
Yeah, well I mean,
guns and politics are related.
You say gun, you are now in a political minefield.
Yes, you are.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Is it partisan?
Yeah, I mean, I work with anybody. I mean,
so it's nonpartisan.
Yeah, it's nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan.
Yeah. If your thing is, again, we are open to anybody. The problem is a lot of times is the people you say, hey man, you might not know something about this. Come over and look. No, thank you. And it's like, okay. And in my
because people want to put it in a box.
Yep. And in my experience, unfortunately, a lot of those people that say that are on the left. It's not me making it up. I'll just go, hey, well, why do you think the guns are bad?
Right.
Because of this, because of that. Okay, well, you're wrong here, here, and here. And then when you present them with those facts, in my experience, a lot of people on the left just tend to be like, yeah, nah, no thanks.
Yeah, well, they're usually anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment.
They're not, though.
They have them for themselves, but they don't want you to have them.
Well, on the elite side, yes. But on the side of the rank and file, they don't know. They're not really anti-gun. They are a monopoly of where they want and who they want to have the guns.
That's typical liberal mentality.
Right. So it's like...
I call them limousine liberals.
It's like just whenever it's convenient.
Well, like Alyssa Milano, who's a huge anti-NRA, anti-gun person, she held some rally, I think it was the same time as the NRA convention in Dallas, but her people were armed.
Yep, I was there.
You were there?
Yep.
So, wait a minute, you don't want guns, but your people protecting you can have them? I can't have them, but you can?
My life is important, not yours.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what we run into. But we have a non-traditional approach to it. So a lot of those, we've made ourselves available to all of those anti-gun organizations. Moms Demand, the people here in Pennsylvania, Philly Ceasefire. We make ourselves available. I come to their things. They do a thing every year on the steps of the art museum here. I was there for the 2 out of the 3 years. The first one, I missed the second one. I was there like last month. I'm here to support people that have had trauma in relation to firearms. But I'm also there to, hey, this is firearm safety. Hey, these are gun locks. These are these things too. But they don't really show up the same way. They don't come to our classes because there's monsters and scary people that come to my classes.
Right. Because people have criminal records and things like that.
Yeah, and so a lot of times it'll be a criminal record based on like weed.
Right, which is like old news,
Right.
Well, now it's basically legal. So,
right.
So you have a conviction for weed or marijuana, and you can't get a gun because of that. So you help these people. There's workarounds for that, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Well, no, not for when you're a convicted felon.
Right.
What we try to do is a lot of the gentlemen that come to our classes. Let's say they're a 40-year-old guy, 45-year-old guy. He might have a 20, 19, 21-year-old son. He wants to bring his son to make sure that his son stays on the straight and narrow, and we can give him that. A lot of times, guys that they're just missing information. A lot of guys and women think they have felonies when they don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll go, nah, bro.
So you look up their criminal record, you find out what it is.
Not me personally. So a lot of times we'll have like a FFL there.
What's FFL?
Federal Firearms Licensee. A person that is federally licensed to sell firearms that can look your background up and tell you.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, I can sell you a firearm, or no, I can't.
Right.
So we do kind of like a hodgepodge mix. But the beautiful thing about us is because we're on this 50-state tour, we link. Again, FFLs and attorneys, trainers, instructors, gun ranges, businesses with the community that we generate to that location.
Right.
So then you don't have to depend on me. We create community, and using the Second Amendment as the foundation. So then let's say if our class in Compton had 400 people. Now those 400 people now know where that gun range is. They know where the instructors are. They know what lawyers they need to talk to, so forth and so on. And then you do that across the nation. You create individual cells.
And I know you were just in Chicago, which has a terrible problem with gun violence, illegal guns. So people talk about, oh, we need more gun laws. Chicago has more gun laws than almost anywhere, and it's one of the most violent cities with the most illegal guns out there.
That's because there's not a culture of respect for firearms promoted in Chicago. The rest of Illinois, you don't have that issue. The reason being because the rest of Illinois doesn't have the same level of restriction. Philadelphia, same thing. It's the only city of the first class in the state of Pennsylvania. But there's extra rules for firearms, and there's not a culture of information around firearms in Philly. You know what I mean? That's because gun control is not about safety it's about controlling people.
Of course it is.
We just did a class in Brooklyn last Saturday, right? New York has the boroughs has 8.5 million people in it, right? There's 800 and some odd thousand, carry permits for the state of New York. New York, which has the highest concentration of humans in the entire state, they have 0.5, less than 1% of concealed carry licenses. It's a complete farce, right? So I know 2 people that have concealed carry licenses for the city and the boroughs.
Okay.
Sean Hannity and Donald Trump. Those are the only 2 people that I know that have concealed, that I can have interacted. Hannity showed me his when I did his show at the Democratic National Convention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And saying that to say, that's the bar. You got to be rich and or famous, or rich and famous.
And powerful.
And powerful in order to get your, a license, quote unquote, to defend your life in some of the roughest areas of the state of New York. And that's a clear contradiction. When you start to express that to people from that demographic and say, hey, you're being boxed into being a slave,
Yeah, and that's a bigger issue that it's basically called the walk away movement. And it's a hashtag, it's a whole thing. It started by this guy by the name of Brandon Straka, right? And he's got his own website. And I feel like you're part of that. And there's another woman who people out there may or might not have heard of. Her name is Candace Owens. Do you know Candace at all?
Yeah, we follow each other on Twitter.
She's from Philly too. I love that Philly.
I did not know that Candace was from Philly.
So Candace, Maz, do you know who she is? She's the woman that Kanye said, I like
the way she thinks.
And what she thinks is, like, she's not really a huge fan of Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
She's not a fan of the Democratic Party. She said, you guys are Democrats because you don't want to think for yourselves. And the Democratic Party is enslaving African Americans. That's what she thinks.
Yep.
And I don't think she's wrong.
So,
and you guys are all part of this movement. It's like, wake up. And I think you're speaking to the African American community, telling them you don't have to be Democrats.
Yeah.
You can be conservative. It doesn't make you a racist or betraying your own people. You're thinking for yourself. You're empowering yourself. You're making yourself better.
The Democratic Party has better PR than the Republican Party.
Well, of course.
That's the reason why the Republican Party has lost. We're talking about maybe 40, 50 million Americans in urban areas. Now, is that primary goal people of color? Yeah, but I got white homies that's blacker than me. They from North Philly just like me. It's environmental at that point. But there's 40, 50 million Americans from urban areas, urban centers that have been like, it's almost like we don't even have to like present to them. We're going to get their vote.
It's a complete monopoly.
Yeah.
Well, what I never understood, though, is if you think about the incredible lead that Republicans had on African Americans.
Yes.
It was the Republican Party that literally emancipated
the slaves.
How did they lose that lead?
LBJ.
That's
LBJ.
I mean, that's a crazy.
It was a concentrated effort.
It was this, right?
Well, now it's the illegal immigrants. That's the vote they want.
They don't think it's the Civil Rights Act, LBJ.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
LBJ, when you know, his famous quote, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for 100 years, or however it goes, I'm paraphrasing. Point being is, there's things that
he's going to be right.
Yeah, he will be. Unless we do something.
We're working on it.
The twist of it is this. This is a highly organized phenomenon. In all of the areas of human activity, there's a concentrated effort to make sure that people of color, specifically black people, are within a certain box. We have a tremendous spending power, right? Tremendous. But if I can keep you scattered, you know, it's really like economic and political and social and spiritual warfare to keep people discombobulated so they're not really focused and going, hey, I'm going to do this for myself. You get what I'm saying? We want your dollar. We want your work. We want your labor, but we don't really want to be responsible for your voice.
I just don't understand the draw to one party, whereas I don't think of everyone who's black being monolithic on their opinions.
Right.
But they somehow all agree with the opinion to be part of the Democratic Party.
Because the marketing was as such,
Yes.
that highly organized phenomenon was a concentrated effort. If you leave people alone long enough, they'll start going, But if you consistently tell them, hey, this is for you, this is not for you, this is for you, and then you have people in that thing to reinforce that, some of those people even know that that's false. Right? Every year we talk about Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. No mention of the fact that he's a Republican. No mention.
Ever.
That is not a oops. That is a highly organized phenomenon.
But there is almost nothing else I can think of that is consistently cool or something that any group will stick with for that long of a time. Right? I mean, think about it. Name for any group. Doesn't black, white, Hispanic.
Because it's based in fear and that matrix being told a certain way.
Yeah. Well, we're here with Mosh Wright. Call in and talk to him if you have any questions, because he's a fascinating guy. 855-839-1210. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210.
You can't serve the financial needs of...
Told you.
Mr. DJ Jazzy.
Well, I didn't actually recognize it as hip-hop. I just basically gave Dan the benefit of the doubt that it would be hip-hop.
Thank you, Maz. I appreciate that.
Well, now you're just making me look bad all around.
There you go.
I'm Erin Elmore, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm here with Maz and Maj, Mosh, Maz, and I mean, this is too confusing with all of you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of MAs.
And you both inspire me, so I'm like kind of in heaven over here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we were having a really interesting conversation off the air, which so often happens,
right.
And about Mosh Torre here from Black Guns Matter, and you know, the question basically was, is your passion guns? And your answer was sort of in a longer way, no.
So one, I'm around a lot of gun guys and gun women. Deanna, who just came back from France for the World Cup of shooting, 3-gun. Rob Pincus, Coleon Noir, Hickok. These are all people that, I've interacted with. Those are gun guys and gun women. Mm-hmm. I think that everybody has a different lane. I'm more of a freedom guy.
Okay.
I'm more of a, hey, this is how you protect your freedoms. I'm more of a constitutionalist on that side of it.
Okay.
And using under that thought process, it's, hey, we got to show people that, hey, this firearm or this tool that in essence built America, this is something that you have the right, the human and natural right to defend your life with. There are actively political parties and people within political parties that are trying to restrict your God-given, not government-given right to defend your life, as stated in the Second Amendment. Explaining that to a demographic that's been on purpose left out of the conversation starts kicking light bulbs. And they go, well, what else was I lied about too? And then they go, well, you were lied about this, you were lied about that. Now, you do the math. If one particular party for your demographic has been telling you this lie and this lie and this lie, you don't have to have a rocket science degree in order to understand what the commonality is there.
And I think you're a part of this bigger movement. It's the walk away movement. It's empowering, everyone, but you're empowering African Americans to think for themselves. Yep. And to not, everyone from time to time may need government assistance. You're saying try to, have that not be part of the equation unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, we all
think for yourself, work for yourself.
Yeah, the problem is crutches. I've never broken a bone in my body.
Good, knock on wood. Good for you.
Never. However, when I know people that have, if you stay on that crutch or in that cast for too long, the bone and the muscle goes into atrophy.
So true.
You can't use it anymore. So this cool cast, the thing that you can use to actually strengthen you and get you back in position, will then turn and become, something that eats away at you. Mm-hmm. And it's explaining it that way in very simple parables to a demographic that on purpose has been made to feel, let's be very honest. Atrophied. The reality is, America's an amazing country, no doubt about it. As a person that travels to other parts of the globe, I'm like, yeah, I kind of like Wi-Fi, right? With that being the case, you cannot say that without also dealing with the contradiction that our country has. It's just what it is. It's certain stains that's on the flag. Our organization deals with those racial, social, socioeconomic contradictions in an honest way. And tying it back into, hey, this happened, and this is how you don't let this happen again.
How much of the idea that you're saying, oh well, you're being lied to, right? People are keeping that cast on to atrophy you, right? How much of it do you think is on purpose, and how much of it do you think is now just the positions that are being passed on to the next group?
It's both. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people it's conscious.
So it's in essence, it's the question of, is it nature or nurture?
Yeah, almost. But in other words, there may be some politicians where you might say, oh, Hillary Clinton, she totally knows what's going on. But you can imagine some other more local politicians, or no, these are the policies that sort of,
they in the matrix too. They in the matrix too.
So now we're getting into the red pill, right?
Yeah, they completely in the matrix, and I don't knock them. I just go, oh, okay, you're
drinking the Kool-Aid. Essentially.
How many people are in the matrix, and how many people have taken the red pill?
So
you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's an analogy that one of my friends shouts to him. His name is Peace. His concept is there's 80 out of 100% of people, right? 85% of them on average are dumb, deaf, and blind, right? 10% of them are fully aware of what's going on and are just like, yeah, we're just going to take advantage of these 85% of people. And then there's 5% of people that are like, nah, I'm wise and I'm aware, but I'm not going to take advantage of people, right? So that's a pretty safe breakdown, if from my perspective.
So you would say the same of all, if you looked at Democratic politicians,
85% of them.
85% know what's going on. Or no, 85% don't know what's going on.
85% don't know what's going on.
10% know what's going on, and they're feeding off the system.
Yep.
Yeah. And 5%.
It's like, yo, this isn't really cool.
It's not cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I think those numbers translate to humanity in general, but I think that's
kind of interesting. That exactly answers my question.
Yeah, I think that the problem is we tend to pick one or the other as if there's not good and or bad in it. Now the unfortunate part for some.
Maj laughing. Erin Elmore here, Maj Toure, Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. Goes by Maz or Dr. Maz or DJ Snazzy Maz.
No, that's a new one.
Or Miss Mazzy if you're nasty.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
There's so much. We're talking with the creator of Black Guns Matter, Maj Toure, a local Philadelphia guy, but he's huge on a national level. He's homies, as he said, right, with Donald Trump Jr. Yeah, this famous, I don't know if you guys know who Tomi Lahren is, but she's a young Republican activist. She's a fan of yours. That's actually how I found out about you, to be honest. I saw on her page, she was wearing a Black Guns Matter shirt, and I was very intrigued, and then here we are.
Yep.
I stalked Maj out on the street. I saw him, we both live in Philly, and I saw him, and I was like, you don't know who I am, but I follow you on Instagram, and I'm a huge fan of your work. And you're basically a revolutionary.
So here's the funny thing. I did know who you were.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because people don't think a lot of like, I'm very active on my social media. And so people, because I know really famous people, they're like, yo, bro, that's not me on my social media. I actually enjoy the engagement of social media. So the thing that I may not know is I'll definitely remember the face. And I'll sometimes I may not know the person's actual name, but I know their social, I know their handle. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the shorty from, okay, cool.
Yeah, my friend's handle is Just Stretching My Legs, and that's what we call him. His name is now Just Stretching My Legs.
Yep. I'll run into people and I'll be like, yeah, I posted. I'm like, oh, you such and such. Oski, how are you?
That's so funny. And I donated, by the way, to your cause. Yeah, you did have a GoFundMe, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know if that's something you can give out. Well, it's just GoFundMe Black Guns Matter, right?
GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter.
Okay, and what are you raising money for?
So we are on a 50-state tour. We are going. All of our classes are free. If you come to our class,
really?
Yeah, they're free.
Wow.
So in essence, all of the people like the listeners here that say, oh, okay, more, conflict resolution or de-escalation or, safety education in urban areas would be a smart thing. Getting people from urban areas to not just vote Democrat because, that's what they've been told to do might be a smart thing. Hey, I want to donate 10, 20, 40, 50 bucks, right? So they, in essence, pay it forward. So everybody that signs up for the classes, like we had one in Brooklyn last Saturday, everyone that signs up, they sign up, they come to the class, they learn, they get stuff, they get giveaways, blah, 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 but they get an information. We're entry level. We are 101 to civics, law, all of those Second Amendment, all of those types of things. So when people make that donation, they're in essence saying, we want to assist Black Guns Matter in doing the work for free of educating the community and making a more powerful shift, or paradigm shift as far as policies via politics, and that's what the GoFundMe's for.
So it's a tremendous effort, and I'm a huge fan, obviously. And so part of this, it's all about the urban communities, really. And in a way, you're advocating for people in urban communities to have guns. Do you think that some people see that as a problem?
Yeah, they should.
Okay.
They should definitely see it as a problem.
Tell me.
Because the people that see it as a problem probably want those people to not exercise their freedoms, which means you probably want to enslave people from urban America. So I am a threat to you. There is no doubt about it.
You know what I see? How I see it is if someone said to me, you're advocating for people in potentially poor neighborhoods or African American neighborhoods, you're advocating for those people to have guns. And you know what I say? With that responsibility gives these people power.
Yeah.
And a lot of people in these communities don't feel that they have any power. And if you start giving them power, they'll start making better decisions for themselves. And you're advocating for making better decisions. Hey, if you want to have a gun, do it legally. Don't break the law.
Right.
And people are going to say, oh, this makes sense to me. Now I'm a legal gun carrier. It makes you want to abide by the laws. But people out there might think, this is a bad idea. I'm using guns into the community. I want to know what you guys think. 855-839-1210. Because that is a powerful question.
It is. And the thing is, not only just get people to be on the lawful side of it initially, but also to go, a lot of the things that we're calling unlawful are violations of your human right and the Constitution generally, the Second Amendment. So if you keep making more rules, if I'm the bad guy, I don't care about the rules.
Right, exactly.
When Maj and Erin leave here, we're going to rob Maj and Erin. We're the bad guys.
Right.
Right? They're not going, you know what, guys, I don't think I can rob you right now because the firearm that I have was not purchased lawfully.
Right. They don't care.
They don't care.
If you're going to rob someone, you are breaking the law anyway.
So with that being the case, they're making more rules about firearms in a space to further inculcate people in that web of slavery. So why would I stop and try to hamstring the good person from defending themselves against the bad person by the very act of having the firearm now makes you a felon?
I mean, it's beyond.
How often do you get groups try to commandeer you? In other words, they try to put you in a box, right? So, because I have to, because everybody in this sort of age we're in, they want nice, clean boxes for politics, right? Because like you said, look, you're a politician, right? Before the debate, you're like, I'm a politician. But you don't fit in any of the boxes real well.
That's what makes me a better politician.
No, look, I agree. Believe me, from a guy that is very similar in some respects, right? So, but everybody wants you in the box, right? So, how often does that happen to you? Where now, okay, you're a pro-gun guy. I want to put you in this. You're in this box. I'm going to check. That means that you automatically must agree with all this stuff over here. And then they put your arm around you. You must agree with all these things too. And you're like, no, I don't.
Right.
Does that happen a lot where people try to do that?
It happens daily.
Right.
So for one, I know me personally, I would skyrocket the names of the people that you don't get DMs from Donald Trump Jr. or kick it with or talk about the people that I'm on first name basis with if you're not making an impact. You don't. It does not happen. However, I would skyrocket a lot faster if I picked one side. I'm fully aware of that. If I went, I'm saying all of these things, but I'm going to go Democrat, I would skyrocket, right? If I went up straight Republican all of the time, I agree with the checklist, I would skyrocket overnight. That does not help the people, though.
And at the end of the day, your goal is to help the people.
Absolutely. You cannot move forward. You know, all of the great people that are my heroes, when you talk about, a John F. Kennedy, when you talk about a Malcolm X, when you talk about, Harriet Tubman, when you talk about Patrick Henry, these were well-rounded, men and women that understood freedom on a bigger scale. Right? But it's a lot easier to just pick one of those people that fit a complete box. But someone that made a bigger impact for the citizenship as a whole usually didn't really fit in one.
Of course not.
box.
That's how you shift the paradigm, right? Like you have to move whole groups with you. That's leading, right? Like you got to move whole groups with you.
Moses got everybody to the promised land, but couldn't get in himself. It's like it's like
Kevin. Watched her speech at CPAC. It's other level.
Yeah, it is. I have the relationships with a lot of those people. The left has exploited that to a certain extent, but my relationship with them is good over there. Those guys, and I think they kind of should do a little bit better of saying some of the things that they've actually done for people of color. I think that they try to not say it because they don't want to look like they're
afraid they're afraid they're going to get criticized.
Yeah, they think that, or they think that some of they think that it'll look like they're pandering. So, for example, Shanine Allen, she's from Philly, right? License to carry, drives over the bridge to Jersey, gets pulled over, tells the officer, "Hey, just letting you know, we just letting you know you coming to jail." Is locked up for 48 days. The NRA paid her legal fees. They don't say it very often. This was within 5 years. Otis McDonald.
Yeah, that was the one, Christie. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
They got Christie to give her, which is a unicorn. A pardon for a gun situation in Jersey is a unicorn, right? That happens. The NRA is responsible for that. Otis McDonald, the guy in Chicago, older gentleman, rest in peace to the OG. Goes to, Saturday, they were targeting Saturday night specials in Chicago because those were inexpensive firearms that people from urban America could use to defend themselves.
I listened to it a few days ago. It's very good. You're very talented.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Is the music on the back burner a little bit now?
I gotta listen first before I judge that.
He's very talented.
So
nothing's a given for me.
Right,
I gotta listen.
You gotta research.
Right, that's what he would want me to do. By the way.
So the music is it is on the back burner because this has taken a whole...
It's a life of its own now.
Yeah, but the beauty of it is going to all of these different cities and seeing these different stories has given me more content to pull from to make songs, So I'll work on it.
How long have you been doing this for?
Our organization started around the same time, 2016.
So do you think that this would be taking off and as much as it is if Trump didn't win?
Yeah, because then you would have someone very anti-gun sitting in that seat,
So you actually think it would be doing? You'd be even more busy.
Yeah, it's no different. It's like gun sales. So when
gun sales go up every time there's
an anti-gun person in it.
Yeah, or every time gun sales go up too. Every time there's a gun,
tragedy,
an issue. Yeah, because everyone's worried there's going to be an increase in gun laws, right?
Yep. So it would be. That was and I'm cool with the outcome. However, if Miss Clinton was in office, she's not. But if she was, it would definitely. Because she would have already been trying to implement very draconian.
But wait a minute. But isn't there some of the feeding off of the anger about the current administration that also helps fuel kind of the movement that you have too?
No, because
you're kind of showing people like, dude, you don't have this right.
No, but here's the thing. I think what happens a lot of times is we don't make our moves. Our logic is always freedom based. So
to take away freedoms would fuel the movement more.
We've always had guns in the hood. We may have not had the information, and even in responsible firearm ownership in urban areas, especially like in the South. People of color have tremendously had an outstanding history with firearms, whether that's military service, you're talking about Buffalo Soldiers to Vietnam to wherever. The thing is, our association with firearms is not predicated upon our fear or nervousness of somebody else. The media a lot of times tries to make it like that. Oh, the gun sales are going up because
Northwest Philly. Hi, Ed, you're on the line.
Okay, I hear your brother talking, but do we know the history about the Black Panthers?
Local lives here.
Erin Elmore here. You're listening to WPHT Talk Radio 1210. I've got Anthony Mazzarelli with me, Maz, and Maj Toure of Black Guns Matter. We just had a fascinating hour talking about everything, really, freedom and empowering the hood. He has a shirt that looks like the Donald Trump "Make America Great Again" hat, but it's a shirt and it says "Make the Hood Great Again." It's great. I love that shirt.
Thank you. It's a very provocative conversation starter.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And you have, what was the other one that you said?
Make racists afraid again.
Make racists afraid again, which is brilliant.
There's another one that we're putting out in about a few weeks, and it's just big, bold letters, and it just says, all gun control is racist.
I mean, we spoke about that last hour, and I think it's a fascinating topic, and now that you have educated us, I think you're 100% right. So Maz over here told us, well, by the way, Maj is going to stick around, so that's fun. But you said you want us to Google something in real time.
Oh, okay. We do the beach thing later. You want to do this now? I'm fine. I'm cool with this.
Okay, are you sure?
Right. Yeah.
All right, we're Googling something in real time.
So here's what I want you to Google. Virginia man calls police for hard foul in pickup basketball game.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
It's a more serious topic than it sounds. Virginia man called cops after hard foul in pickup basketball game.
Okay, and then there's an image. Okay, so wait. So it's okay. So the image is of.
I want you to look at this picture.
Yeah. So the image, I'll tell everyone.
This picture right here.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a large gentleman in basketball clothing. He is.
No.
Not
yeah,
that
right.
one? Yes.
Well, yeah. That's the picture.
He.
But to yourselves, before we describe it to the audience, when I say, you got the picture in front of you, Maj?
Yeah,
but when I say three, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. To yourself, identify who you think the dude is that called the cops. 1, 2, 3. Boom. To yourself.
Okay.
Think to yourself who the person is that called the cops. All right. Now, go ahead.
And tell the picture. Yeah. Okay. There's a tall gentleman wearing basketball clothing. He is African American. And there are other gentlemen in the picture that are Caucasian and in basketball clothing as well. So there's basically a black guy.
There's a black dude and the rest are white dudes.
Right.
Can we just, all right?
Okay, yeah, sorry. I made it more complicated than it had to be. I was just trying to paint a colorful picture.
Yeah. So there is, Maj, who do you think called the cops? Who did you say? When I said 3, who did you say called the cops in that picture?
I'm thinking it's the white dude with the blue shirt on.
And that's the dude. See, I'm
Look
colorblind.
like you got headphones.
Yeah.
And that's I'd said.
So one of the white dudes.
Yeah,
this is
one of
my
the white
point.
dudes.
One of the white
Right.
dudes, right? I initially, I thought it was the white dude right next to the cop.
Yeah.
Erin, who did you think it was?
Same, the white dude next to the cop.
All right,
but
so
you think?
No, that's who I thought it was. The way when I was here the other day, right, when I was filling in for Rich, my producer at the time said, "Oh, I thought it was the black dude," and the guy who tweeted this picture out felt compelled to further tweet about, "Oh, it's not the guy in the middle of the picture who is black. It happens to be the guy I thought it was, but it doesn't matter. It's one of the white guys, right?" And I said, "Wait a minute. There's no way anyone in the world thought it was the guy who was the black guy."
Right.
But
because
let me tell you why.
Okay.
Why I didn't think it was the black guy.
Okay.
And this is what here's the issue I find interesting. First of all, 60%, 65% of the reason, 60% of the reason I didn't think it was the black guy was because he's literally twice as big as everyone else in the picture. And I'm thinking, no one's knocking that dude down.
Right.
Right? No one's hard fouling that guy. And he's got those neoprene sleeve things on. Like that dude's not like.
So he looks like he's good at basketball.
He's a basketball player. That guy's not calling the cops. Yeah, he's not calling that guy's not calling the cops.
First of all, who calls the cops over basketball?
And that's the part that blew
blows
me.
your mind, right? So 60% of the reason is his size. 30% of the reason is the neoprene thing.
Arm sleeves.
But 10% of the reason I don't think it's that dude is I'm like, he's black, and that guy's not calling the cops. Like his threshold to call the cops is different. It's different than other people.
That might be
not a basketball game. Because I have
You might
friends
be
who are,
racist,
I have
Tom,
friends.
if you say
Well, that's
that.
what I'm saying. I have friends who are black. I have other people I know who are black who have to teach their kids about, like, even though they respect the police just like everyone else does, they have to teach their kids and all to behave differently because they have concerns sometimes about police. Even though they were respected police, they're not calling the police for a basketball foul.
No.
That was 10% of my reason why I said it. Is that an issue? Is that wrong of me that I included race? That's a stereotype. Is that a problem that I included that?
It's not a stereotype.
Sure it is.
It's a profile.
Yeah, right. It's a profile.
Right. Now, the profiling is how you exist. So what I mean, your genetics are to a certain extent based on your environment and your conditioning, right? Is how you stay alive on certain levels. It only becomes biased or bigoted or racist when you have evidence to the contrary of your initial profile. So if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll leave here. We downtown, right? I might go get a drink. I might, whatever. If I leave down here at whatever time, let's say if I'm out here late, do not walk up on me asking me I don't care what you look like. My profile is you are coming over to me asking me for a light at 1 o'clock in the morning. Don't do it, right? That's a profile. Now, if I get more information and I go, oh, well, that guy actually, hey, man, my car is right there. He points, my car is right there. Actually, can I use your phone because you see my tire? I get new information. Right. Okay, my profile on this person changes. Oh, he's not what I initially profiled him or her to be. This person is actually, their tire's flat.
What's the 10% again? Tell me that part.
10%.
All this math is making
It's like 10% is the black dude.
The fact that he's black is part of the reason why I did not say he was part of the reason why I knew for a fact he was not the dude that called the police.
But to Madge's point is, we all have a set of beliefs, and you are basing your...
So you're okay with it?
I think you're basing your opinion on people that you know. You said, look, I have friends, and this is what they've taught me, and this is how they live their life, and you're using your own biases. They're not racist or wrong in that situation. It's just they are what they are.
I just think that this whole scene, that dude is not involving the police.
Now,
what do they think the police are going to do over the fight? Are they now referees?
That is the stupidest thing I've ever... There's no way a guy that's playing basketball in that outfit, that whole thing, that dude's not calling the police.
Right, absolutely. And that's a safe bet. And
why did you not choose him?
For the same reasons. I was like...
Did you put the black thing in there?
I was like, yo... Brother ain't calling.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, race, and then you got to factor other things. Race, we're talking about...
Communities every day.
Last season, fans took over opposing team stadiums.
And listen at this crowd out here on the West Coast.
Now, following the NFL champions on the road will be even easier. It's the Sports Radio 94 WIP Road Game Takeover with fans of Philly. Go to 94WIP.com/road trip. On sale now. Book your trips to watch the Birds in New Orleans, Tampa, and Nashville. 94WIP.com/road trip.
Talking about what you're talking about. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Is this Nelly Furtado?
Timbaland.
Right? What is it? Timbaland with her, yes. Timbaland and Nelly. Erin Elmore here. We've got special guest in studio, Maj Toure of Black Guns Matter, and Dr. Lawyer Anthony Mazzarelli.
Wait, now, I thought we were going to play something where Erin was going to rap.
No, because we have a real rapper in here, and I'm going to embarrass myself. He told me I'm a cover artist. I'm not a rapper. I'm a cover artist.
But you would still be rapping. It would be like
why are you trying to ruin my life?
When someone sings and a cover artist, they're still singing.
That is true.
Right?
That's true.
We'll figure out at the break. Snoop? You want to do some Snoop?
Dear God. I told you. Sure. Snoop it is. Snoop-a-loop. You can bring your green hat. That's from a movie. What quote is that, Mr. Movie? Come on, Snoop. You can bring your green hat.
I don't know. Do you know what that is?
I don't know either. I'm thinking about it.
Snoop-a-loop.
What is it?
Old school. Right?
Will
Ferrell.
Ferrell?
I think that was the one, right?
I don't know.
He joined like a fraternity.
Yeah, that's old school.
You're my boy, Blue. Yeah. Now you know, new quote. Come on, you can bring your green hat.
There you go.
Anyway, so Anthony just gave me a really... Anthony Miles just gave me a really mean look. You know why?
She's upset with me. She calls me Anthony.
Anthony thinks he's a cinephile.
It's better than Chimo.
Right. I was going to say that.
He fancies himself a movie buff, and he didn't know the quote, so now I've checked his ego a little bit.
Both of us consider ourselves movie buffs.
Right. Well, I stumped the buffs.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I got one for you.
I've seen like 3 movies, so go ahead.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was going to say.
No, I don't really watch movies.
Dylan, you son of a...
Oh my God, that's my son. It's a Cat in the Hat.
Nope. She said Cat in the Hat.
My son says son of a, and I think it's in the Cat in the Hat.
Love for it. The situation has been that the one movie quote that Maj came out with was Mike Myers, the Cat in the Hat. That would have been awesome.
That would
have been the one he went with. He had his shot. He comes on the radio.
Mike
Myers.
He
sticks around to hang out. And what's he going to go? He's going to go with Cat in the Hat.
He's got kids, though.
Hey,
That's
Maz,
what he's going to go
I want to hear, do you have a guess on this one? Because I think I know it.
No, go for it.
Predator.
Yep.
Oh.
Predator. When Carl Weathers and Arnold do the epic handshake.
Yeah.
And they're like, because they all like sweating with arms, and they're like, Dylan, and they in the jungle. Yeah, it's like a classic whole, like.
All right, I have one more. I mean, we could do this for hours. I've got one more. A quote from a movie. It's my favorite movie.
You literally know no movie.
This is my favorite movie in the whole world.
This is your favorite.
You guys might judge me on this.
It's Matilda.
No.
Dude, I just watched that with my daughter a couple days ago.
No, not that. I might butcher it a little bit, but it's pretty easy. I'm going to return some videotapes.
Clerks.
Nope. Oh yeah, it's
What's a videotape? It's like no.
1980s. So that's a clue. 1980s.
Wait, I'm going to return some videotapes.
That's the most generic line.
It's the whole point of the movie, Ish. Well, how's this? That's a very fine Chardonnay you're not drinking.
It's a chick.
All right, how about this? Don't tell us. No. Listen, let's move on.
All right, move on.
Do the next topic,
you know
and we'll lay it out there. People can call in, see if they get it.
I'm going to return some videotapes, and that's a very fine Chardonnay you're not drinking.
All right, it's fine. We'll see if people can.
It better not be like The Notebook.
No, I don't watch. I'm not that.
Okay,
want me to give you one more clue?
No.
Okay.
No. Let it lay out there.
I have another quote, but I won't. You'll know it if I say that. I think.
Don't.
Okay. So obviously, I keep saying this. You're a doctor. Dr. Mazzarelli. Paging Dr. Mazzarelli.
I'm right here.
So you don't smoke cigarettes?
I do not. Cigarettes, I have to tell you, look, I know I'm supposed to talk about how bad smoking is. It's insanely bad for you.
I don't smoke.
Everybody knows how bad cigarette smoking is. Like, it causes lung cancer. You can't believe how bad smoking is. Like, when you're in medical school and you have tests, every disease, if there's an answer choice, it's worse if you smoke, choose that as an answer choice. Always. It's crazy. Like, if you cut yourself, wound healing is worse if you smoke. No, it's crazy. you can't imagine how bad smoking is. For
And they
you.
say quitting smoking is hard as like quitting heroin or something, right?
It's really, nicotine's very addictive. I mean,
quit smoking.
It is, well, congratulations, that's good.
I didn't really smoke, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, oh, well, it's really, really, it's really hard. It is incredibly
Is that the same for
bad
cigars?
For you. Well, it depends how much you smoke, right? Like, so it's nicotine, cigarettes particularly with the tar and the nicotine, right? But it's all the studies are mainly on smoking, right? That's part of the reason why they have so much data is because so many people smoke and you can do those studies. It's harder to do studies on other things because particularly illegal drugs, right? Because you have to get people who do it and admit to doing it.
About it.
But it's nuts how bad smoking is. So that's the starting spot.
Okay. Because, so you're not alone. Our governor of New Jersey, Governor Murphy, banned smoking on the beaches.
Yeah, but I don't support the ban.
Okay. Why not?
So I don't, it's the libertarian streak in me, right? So the main force behind this ban was supposed to be pollution on the beach, right? Butts on the beach.
Right.
The goal of this was not to make people healthier, right? So here's how I would have done this, right? Because I don't like the government. I like smaller government most of the time, right? So what I would have done was, if I were Governor Murphy, the bill I would wanted him to sign was I wanted him to sign a bill that would have banned smoking just around me.
Well, that's selfish.
Well, and then would have raised the crazy fines for people who throw their butts places. Not necessarily ban stuff. Like, we're going to stop banning stuff.
I feel like there's a joke in here about butts on the beach, but
I thought that.
I wasn't. On the beach. No, there's something in there, but that's what I would have done.
So you want it to be about fines to punish people for their bad behavior, as opposed. Well, so the law would
for their bad behavior of the
littering
of the littering, because that's what that was the idea behind this. Right?
Allegedly.
Or
is it about marijuana?
Well, that's what Dan brought up.
Dan.
But for at least one town that chose to do this, right? Because some of the towns have already chosen to ban smoking on the beach.
Right. So, Dan, what's the story there with the pot?
Well, the town on the beach, I spoke with a council member of the town, and I actually asked him on air, this is on air, whether or not the beach was doing this in preparation for the legalization of marijuana. And he pretty much told me, yeah, it's completely that. He was very open about it. I spoke with a state senator in that district as well, and he said it's pretty obvious that the state's doing this for that reason. And that's because it's pretty obvious, if you've been around marijuana smokers in your lives, there is definitely such a thing as a contact high from marijuana. And it's to get ahead of the kids that are out on the beach, sitting next to someone smoking a joint, and they somehow get high off of it. And especially just how it looks to people coming into the beach is seeing someone smoking a bowl on the beach. That's not good. That's not good business.
The optics aren't good.
To be fair, that's not why Murphy did this, though, because this is a bill they've been talking about for years, even before they started talking about legalization of marijuana. But I can see where that's why individual towns would, like Dan's bringing up. But this is something that multiple times had failed in the past because they couldn't figure out who was going to enforce it. And like the lifeguards versus the cops.
And the cops are going to spend their day walking around the beach when they have real crimes to worry about. Well, I do like the law. And I'm going to take it a step further. I think, sure.
Because you're big government. Big government, Erin?
The
BGE. The BGE. There could be a song here.
Big butt, Erin. Big butt.
Hopefully Madge can have some songs to come out of this. We're inspiring him when he starts going back to writing albums.
I'm happy to be his muse.
You're the BGE. Big government, Erin.
Okay, listen to my point. You're going to agree with me once. I think we should take it a step further. Men and women in uniform, like police officers or firefighters, shouldn't be allowed to smoke in uniform because I have a 5-year-old son, okay? He's impressionable. He looks up to the firemen. We live near a fire station. As a hero. The cops are heroes. You see them ripping back cigarettes at work. It doesn't actually look so good. Spider-Man doesn't smoke. Batman doesn't smoke.
Wolverine does.
He does? But that's not a kid's movie, is it?
Yeah, except for Logan, they're all
it's got to be rated R.
Only Logan
is
rated R.
So
but let's go back.
Yes, I think
even if you can win me over, because I could, the men and women in uniform, I could be persuaded for probably because of what you talked about while they're on the job. But once they take that uniform off and go to the beach, they should be able to. That's
touche.
Right? Why does your why are you okay with the beach part? I get the uniform part.
Well, I like how you actually said it. I like the idea of making it a fine.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The fine is fine.
Right,
Big butts on the
because
beach.
the reason, the supposed reason was we don't want, people just littering, so forth and so on. So they can, make it that, as opposed to, but like you said, it's not the real reason.
No, but the notorious BGE over here,
I'm making laws left and right.
She's like, I'll raise, not only am I okay with it, I will raise that ban and make it even bigger.
I'm just trying to protect my son. Just like you want a tent around you so people can't smoke near you.
Oh, hold on. The tents at the beach are fine. These towns banning these tents, that's another ridiculous thing.
I can't.
You're anti-tent, right? You bring an umbrella. You probably don't bring anything.
I don't like the sun, first of all.
All right, so
I'm okay with a tent, but I go to the places that already have them. The beach clubs that I go to, they'll set it up for me.
Fancy.
Yeah, that's very fancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, so I need to ask, so the middle ground there is, so it's smoke generally. So, one, cigars are still a no-no on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
so how far does this extend?
Well, I guess cigars were okay before. If it was a beach before, well, by the way, this bill allows each town to reserve up to 15%, a 15% area that is reserved for smoking.
Okay.
That's what this bill will do.
Mm-hmm. So all of the smokers have to go to the 15% area.
Or like or
it's like a casino now?
Like that.
We have a casino?
Now here's the contradiction there. If the argument was the smoke spreading and contact high, smoke spreads.
Well, it wasn't. The argument was about the butts.
Oh, right.
That's why he signed the bill.
Right, okay.
The reason why there's a contradiction is the bill also bans vaping.
I hate vaping.
Which doesn't really make sense
because it doesn't have to do
from a butts perspective.
No butts. That's about the environment, though, maybe, right? It's about the environment. I want to hear what you guys think. Give us a call at 855-839-1210. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk more about these butts. And I think that the police should not be allowed to smoke in uniform because it sets a bad example for my son.
That's a really good issue. I am curious what people think about that.
I am too.
Would the notorious BGE's plan,
worst nickname ever,
which I think is not, that's an interesting issue. You would have all men and women
in uniform.
The only thing I struggle with, when they do it their own time, it's fine. You're not gonna have them.
I'm not going to their house.
Right. Well, some companies do that, by the way.
I've heard that.
Private companies.
They
You're
do.
saying when they're in uniform, you wouldn't allow it.
Nope, not allowed.
Right,
but I'm starting to think about the military too. But I feel like those men and women are like saving our butts on a daily basis. I almost want to let them do whatever the heck they want.
And they're also
so are officers though. Police officers could get killed.
Well, and they're also somewhere else, and they're kind of in uniform the whole time.
Right.
Yeah,
You're talking about people who are
like the police and firefighters. Let's just leave it at them.
All right.
Call in 855-839-1210. We're going to take a break, and we will be.
I didn't want to talk.
Biggie.
This one might stick.
Please don't let this. I mean, I need a good nickname.
I'm just kidding.
Notorious BG. First of all, to Erin Elmore, Maj Toure from Black Guns Matter, and Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli is here too.
Why are you trying to sign my name as nerdy as possible?
She's super proper.
Yeah,
Mazzarelli.
Super nerdy.
Wow, you're not super nerdy.
That's how you try to say my name, just because you're the notorious BG, big government Aaron.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Who wants to ban on the New Jersey beaches? She's super happy.
And all you police officers out there smoking in uniform, I'm coming for you.
Hey, Aaron, if he's going to get that to stick on, you better start calling him a DJ Snazzy Maz.
DJ Snazzy Maz, that's going to stick.
I didn't do anything to deserve that. You just made that up.
But if you're the DJ and she's the hip hop artist, there's crossover appeal. There's a whole nother section of money.
That's right.
There's money to be made.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. Here's the issue I have with the uniform thing you talked about. Okay. Here's why I can't support it.
Okay. I don't have his support. What am I going to do?
The notorious big government Aaron. So Murphy signs this law banning smoking on the beaches.
Yes.
He's doing it for pollution issues, and even though I can't stand smoking, every bone in my body, everything about me says, smoking, everything about it's horrible.
True.
I would rather just raise the fines on throwing away the butts, because I don't like the government banning stuff.
Yeah.
The issue you brought up was, I think we should also ban the idea of men and women, police and fire in uniform smoking because of the role models for kids, right?
Correct.
Here's the problem. You work a 12-hour shift as a police officer or even an 8-hour shift as a police officer.
Okay.
Come on. It's not You're functionally saying that, and no one who's a police officer, I don't want them to smoke, and I'll do everything in my power to help them get, stop smoking and offer programs but if they do smoke, because it is one of the most, addictive substances to man, you're functionally saying that you would be banning police officers and firefighters from smoking.
Slap on a nicotine patch and go about your business. That's my take. I'm tough.
Yeah, I want to hear what people think about that.
My son loves the firemen.
They can't be seen
and women.
Maybe they have to smoke in certain reserved places, but they shouldn't be seen in public smoking.
Right.
Would be the way to do it.
That's a good balance.
But making them go the whole that's rough.
Okay, you're right.
How are you going to enforce this?
How do I enforce this? Yeah, they can give themselves tickets.
Right,
can they?
they sell tickets.
Twitter enforces
Take pictures.
How the whole world enforces everything. Twitter.
Yeah, click. This cop at this location was doing.
If you could call someone for a hard foul in basketball, you could call a cop. Right? I want to hear what people think.
Yeah, 855-839-1210. Also, has anyone figured out what my movie quotes are from? I'm going to return some videotapes, and that's a very fine Chardonnay you're not drinking.
Very fine.
What do you do for? I'm going to give you one more because we're.
All right, what's up?
What do you do for a living? Murders and executions.
These are the most generic quotes.
That one's pretty good. Murders and executions.
I looked it up, and I can tell you that it's definitely not a chick flick, and it's definitely a movie you two should know.
I agree, and it's my favorite movie. It's such a good movie. If you haven't seen it,
I'm working my way to it by that angle.
Okay,
which
and
is
it's also
what is probably your favorite movie.
I have a dry sense of humor, and I find this movie to be a comedy almost.
It's not American Psycho, is it?
Yes, it is.
Bam.
My favorite movie.
Look, so wait, what? We got to talk about why American Psycho is your favorite movie.
That has me
That's
concerned.
scary, bro.
That has me concerned.
So they did a Broadway show of it, and my husband took me for my birthday. It was really campy. It was awesome. I love
That's
that
your
movie.
favorite movie?
Favorite.
That
love
movie's
it.
rough.
That movie's
It's
rough.
not though. It's all in his head.
But you still see it.
What? I mean, what does it matter that it's all in his head?
We can see it.
By the way, Erin, every movie is all in the director's head. They're all not real.
But Christian Bale wasn't really killing
people. With the exception of a documentary, they're all not really killing people in the movies. You know that, right?
In a very long
so
time.
good.
I haven't seen it in so long.
And there's funny things in it too.
It is.
You know what I mean?
So what made me get interested in American Psycho was, that there's clips of that's like a meme now.
Yes, of course. Of him.
Right.
Well, we can't talk about what he's doing.
Right.
Why don't I try to? Okay, there's a meme. You know what a meme is? It's like.
I do.
Yeah. So
She's just trying to come into that. You do know what a meme
the
is.
assumption of how uncool she thinks I am is actually cute. It's actually cute.
It's a meme,
right?
not a meme.
Do you know what a meme? Have you ever seen the internet?
Okay. So
Maz, you should try the Googles.
So I have a case of the Google. So there's this meme of Christian Bale from the movie. Dan, you probably know what the meme we're talking about is. Okay, he is a cad, like a man that's very into his body and grooming, and he's very, very attractive.
Now that's something I don't know.
He's a very attractive. Okay,
a cad.
Yeah. It's just it means like a guy that's really into themselves, whatever. And he has a proclivity for intercourse.
Right.
And
he likes having sex with people.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what I can say and what I can't say. So anyway, he videotapes himself
having sex with people.
Yeah.
And one of them is really funny, and he's flexing to the camera.
I remember that.
So that's the meme. There's
okay.
The meme is Christian Bale flexing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
completely destroying Shorty.
Yeah, I remember. I remember.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
But that got you reinterested in American Psycho. That meme.
And I was like, oh man, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. I still haven't watched it, but I was like, I haven't seen this movie. I think
good.
Kanye did that video that he did. I'm in love with you.
Bob is wrong.
Yep, with the whole white. That's based on that movie.
Love Lockdown.
Yep. Bam.
I know. Yeah. Well, anyway. So that's the movie, and that's my favorite movie. So
there is definitely some analysis to be done with that being your favorite movie.
Hey, I have a question. Are you do you think all thrillers are funny? Is that kind of your thing?
I think that it's just the way that movie is done. Like, for example, I mean, okay. So in the movie, Christian Bale's character has two women with him at his apartment. One is a prostitute, and the other is like an Upper East Side, West Side socialite. And something funny is the socialite chick looks at the prostitute. She's like, "Where do you summer? You look familiar. Do you summer in the Hamptons?" Like, it's just dark and weird and funny. Like, the irony of this
you
woman.
haven't even mentioned, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, you haven't mentioned the fact that he kills all these women.
That doesn't really
He
happen.
murders, violently murders all these women.
Well,
in her mind, it doesn't go to saying because he's doing it in his mind in the movie.
What the question is they don't know if he's really ever killed anyone, if it was all in his head.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But there's one scene of him buck naked wearing like white running shoes.
Wait, what kind of naked?
Buck naked.
Oh, I think it's a bach.
Buck
it's a new
naked.
phrase, yeah.
He's like, maybe there's a cool word he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
No, buck naked, like running with a chainsaw. It's just funny.
Wait,
what's your favorite movie?
I was literally about to ask you the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm always at a toss-up between 3 different movies is my favorite.
Okay.
Harlem Nights, Coming to America, and The Color Purple.
Coming to America is hilarious.
Coming to America is hilarious.
Hilarious.
Listen, so I was in New York last week, right? And I said, okay.
Right.
I mean, are we still on this? Do you even know who Ludacris is?
I know who Ludacris is.
Lies. I don't sing. You can hear my voice. It's kind of a husky,
well,
raspy.
No, I just heard you try to sing now. That's why I said that.
No, I'm not a singer. I'm jealous of people that can sing. It's a beautiful thing.
Me too.
Like,
right?
I hate them. I'm completely envious.
Yeah.
They just come in and
It's just such a beautiful thing.
I don't even know how they know that they knew how to do it.
Yeah, right. I know. So we were talking about movies a little bit, right? And
well, Americans now, Maj is going to go watch American Psycho.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, like, I was trying to figure out where we can watch it, and it's like, where is it? Is it on Netflix?
No.
No, there used to be places you could find, like, can I stream it? Like, it's on Netflix, it's on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
How did you used to watch all these
Pirate
movies?
Bay.
So
everything.
Yeah, but Pirate Bay it's pirated. That's stealing.
Excuse me. I'm Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. I'm stealing.
Hold on. Time out.
Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli thinks it's stealing.
Let's be real quick. What do you mean yes and no? It's 100% stealing. Get the yellow tape.
No, it's not
it's a crime scene.
Let me tell you why.
It's stealing.
So the guys from Pirate Bay, right?
Uh-huh.
They were
the guys in yellow in orange jumpsuits right now?
Well, no, they're out now.
But, the guys that were in orange jumpsuits.
But here's the thing. Those copyright laws were American-based copyright laws. Their website was not in America. It was an international, like Sweden.
So wait a minute. This just struck me. You're a recording artist.
Yep.
You don't consider that stealing?
No. If the laws, because if those are not the laws of that land.
Oh, so if somebody is able to do like a frontsies, backsies. I'll give you a front. Oh, no frontsies, but if you do a backsies, a double backsies, do a frontsies, and steal your music in some other country, and then you use some website to get it, you're cool with that?
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. Cool.
Let me tell you,
that's great, man.
Let me tell you a perfect
example. We'll see how it works when your next album comes out.
I'm telling you, it'll be two things. Two things. One. If the law of that land, if my website is over here, we are outside of your jurisdiction of your U.S. copyright laws.
Uh-huh.
You're not breaking the law there.
So why are they going to jail?
So if somebody takes the movie and is able to move it to some other country and then starts copying it to everybody, you're totally cool with that?
Yeah. As an artist.
Yeah.
As an artist, me as a person. So, for example, okay, let's look at the current state.
Wow, she's the notorious BGE, but we need a nickname for you. That is not. That's not going to be a popular position.
Yes, it will. That's what's happening with music now.
Yeah, but no one's real happy about it.
No one cares anymore. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Napster did this, and Metallica cried like little BIT, you know what's, and like little girls, and they looked bad publicly.
Yep.
You're taking on a teenager. And you look like a jerk. And now there's a thing called Spotify where everything I want to listen to is free. I listen to it right now. That's the way the world works these days.
You don't pay for Spotify?
You don't need to. I mean, I have premium, but there's free. It just has there's a free service. You can listen to any song you want at any time, make playlists, anything you want.
So you believe...
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube on this. And no
that,
one feels sorry for the movie industry that makes $3 billion a second.
I feel really bad for those pirate guys, because you're basically saying they went to jail for no reason.
No, I'm not saying they went to jail for no reason. I think they were... I think what happened was...
Was it a scam trial?
No,
a total sham trial?
It wasn't a sham trial in that sense, but when you say, hey, we are not within your jurisdiction, stop saying us copyright infringement rules, see you later. right? When you do that, and then when you get your American government to go over into international waters to go hunt these guys down, not because they're, to me...
Look, they're not going after Bin Laden. This is just going after the movie.
Right, exactly. Exactly the point.
So if someone can just
fish to fry.
get the movie out, if you can just get a copy and just send it out of the country, it doesn't matter if it comes back in. Then it's fine. Everybody gets a piece of the action.
Those are international waters. Those are not their copyright laws that they are subject to.
All right. Interesting.
Real quick note, American Psycho available to stream on Amazon Prime.
See, I told you, you gotta check them all. You gotta check. See, you gotta check all of them.
What is it? Which streaming?
Can I stream it?
Can I stream it?
But I'm not. There's a bunch of different ones like that. Can I stream? There's a couple competitors, but none of them figured it out.
So be honest.
But they're all none of them pirated.
You never used Pirate Bay, LimeWire, Napster.
Nope.
Never. Stop lying.
He doesn't know what they are. He doesn't know how to use the Googles. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening to us tonight and letting me be here with you. It's been a great time, and thank you for coming, Monstory of Black Lives Matter. Thank you, Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli, for helping me out here, and thank you all for listening. 1210 WPHT. We'll see you later.
You can't serve the financial